Were the people of the ACT asked about this? Do they want it?
Look, I'm sure that most people in the ACT probably don't know that it's going on or don't particularly care. But no, they weren't asked. There's one thing about this government is that it doesn't, the ACT government, that is, it doesn't consult with locals on anything whatsoever. And I just want to pull you up on something. When you say it's democratically elected, it's a glorified council of 25 members that's elected by this anomaly called the Hare-Clark system, which they use in Tasmania and the Northern Territory. And I prefer to call it the Duckworth-Lewis system because nobody understands how it works. And we've got some members of the Assembly that have been elected with about 60 or 70 votes. So it's hardly democratic.
Oh, well, is there an argument for shrinking the ACT? I mean, let me put it another way. What's its central purpose, and could it be reduced to just managing all the federal buildings instead of the city?
Absolutely. And the problem with the ACT is, well, it's twofold. Firstly, that it is too big. And the National Capital Authority manages all of the nationally significant institutions within the ACT anyway, things like Parliament House, the National Archives, the Australian War Memorial, the Mint, all of these kind of things, the embassies are run by the National Capital Authority, which is a federal government agency. And it's run by a board. It's got a CEO that does a very, very good job. They get on with business and do things very well. They're part of Canberra, which is largely confined to what they call the parliamentary triangle, which is around the edges of Lake Burley-Griffin. It's beautiful, it's pristine, it's like you remember Canberra used to be. Beyond that, it's run by what I like to call Canberra City Council or the ACT government, which is an absolute farce. So my argument has always been that the National Capital Authority should keep control of what it does now, and the rest should be absorbed back into New South Wales, where we can get a full-size proper government to actually run the show. And even if it's a Labor government, I don't care. I know they're going to do a better job than the ACT government does.
Well done. Now, you're probably more qualified than most people to describe the contrast between what it's like inside Parliament House and life outside it, because I imagine you spent a lot of time crossing from one to the other. It's quite the contrast, isn't it, Stephen?
It really is. And it's the problem with Parliament House is not only that the politicians are out of touch, and I was only having a discussion with ACT Senator David Pocock about this morning, that I think our federal politicians spend far too much time in Canberra. They should get back out to their electorates and talk to real people. But you've got this building on the hill that is separated from the rest of Canberra. The bubble sits over it, not over the ACT. They've got their own restaurants, their own coffee shop. They've got a hairdresser in there. They've got their own post office. They've got their own gym. They're even separated from the public areas of Parliament House where the general public are allowed to go in and see what's going on. They don't have any concept of what real life outside of that building is. And it's not just the politicians. It's the members of the press gallery. It's the people that work in Parliament House. As you say, it is its own little ecosystem. They talk to each other. They eat with each other. Most of them share houses with each other. No concept of what you and I are living with or dealing with out in the real world.